Knockout victory against the Aussie down under. Welcome back, Vasyl.
That was impressive.
11th round knockout on a night of supreme skill, accuracy, power, footwork, angles, you name it, he showed it. Loma's got a belt again.
Let's talk about it. So Loma goes on to stop George Kambosos in the very closing seconds of round number 11 in a fight in which he dominated every single round. Well, you could give, I believe it was round number 4. I forgot that Kambosos had some success. But let me say this. Now things are going to get interesting because it seems as though some super fights are now on the way at 135 pounds. Emmanuel Navarrete next week is going to be taking on Dennis Berinchyk for the WBO title. Let me see if I can get the body shot for you. Oh, here it is. It wasn't a body shot. It was the body shot that ended the fight. Let me see here. This was the shot that dropped him. Then you could also have, here, let me pull up the card here. My bad. Oh, there's the body shot. Ooh, I got to rewind that. You got to see that again. Hold on, I got to show you that. That's the shot I was looking for. Straight to the body. My favorite punch in all of boxing. I'm going to get you that replay here. Let me see if I can rewind it back. Oh, I can. I'm watching on, not on the Plus. I'm watching on ESPN on my computer. They don't let you rewind it. There it is. That's how he stopped the fight. So you have on July the 6th, Shakur Stevenson also fighting. You have Tank Davis fighting on June the 15th against Frank Martin in a fight where I think it's going to be actually tough for Tank Davis. Here it is. Let me see if we can show it. By the way, George Kambosos could easily be 0-7 in his last 7 fights. And Joe Tessitore, during the post-fight, during the commentary, was saying that George Kambosos has the worst punch stats in championship boxing, with landing 10 punches per round. We're going to look at the resume. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe.
36 years old and still on top.
By the way, the announcer shit the bed today.
A round of applause for these two world-class warriors.
Let's go see what Twitter's saying.
The end comes in 2 minutes and 49 seconds into round 11. Your referee stops this competition by winner of TKO, fighting out of the red corner, and new IBF lightweight champion of the world, Vasyl Lomachenko.
We invite everybody to turn on the ESPN app for the post-fight interviews on the state of boxing. Immediately coming up, we will have all the post-fight interviews and coverage on the ESPN app, on ESPN Plus, the state of boxing.
I hate that I have to do this. I hate when I have to do this. Where's it at? Where we at? Where we at? I hate that they make me do this. Is it this one? I hate that they make us do this. Like, to get the post-fight interview, you got to go to a whole different... Here it is. I can't stand it. And they're going to make me sign in. Hold on, damn it. Oh. Pisses me off. All right, here we go. We should be good now. All right, we should be good now. Yeah. Oh, we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, I'm here real time. It is 1:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am exhausted, but we're going to talk about this in a longer video within the next 12 hours or so. Here, let's see if we can get the post-fight interviews from the guys here. Did I miss anything on the State of Boxing show? No, I did not. Well, as we're waiting for the post-fight interview, Tank Davis says he wants Lomachenko after Frank Martin. Here, I'm going to pull up his tweets here. I mean, you know, he's big on tweeting. And in reality, he's running out of opponents over on the PBC side, especially if he wants to stay at 135 pounds. But the Loma fight's been long overdue. And at one point in time, according to Bob Arum, there was actually real talks about the fight around the time they made Wilder Fury 2. But then, of course, COVID hit and Loma went on to lose to Teofimo Lopez. And it never came to fruition. For example, he's not with Bob anymore, I don't think. Let's see what he's saying. Clean up the scene. I don't need no mop. Let's see here. What is he saying? You know, he likes to tweet and delete. They going at it again, him and Shakur Stevenson. But to be very honest, in boxing, Loma versus, Tank, he's the A side versus Loma is the bigger fight than Tank versus Shakur. Oh, let's listen in. Why are they not letting us hear? All right, let's listen in. I don't like this.
But it looks like knockout, not Lomachenko. But, you know, we train hard for this moment. I want to say big thank you to my opponent. He is a strong man, he is a true warrior. And of course, I want to say thank you, big thank you to our God, Jesus Christ, to my team, Egis, my manager, Andre, my father, Ras. Of course, I want to say thank you to Top Rank who give me this chance, be a champion again, Bob Arum. And of course, for all people who support boxing, God bless you.
The judges, you made sure that they were not going to be a part of this.
He deleted the tweet.
You got off to a fast start. Talk to me about how you broke him down and your plan into this fight.
My plan wasn't to adjust to my opponent. This is what I did during the fight. And the end of the round, I need to finish strong. And last 3 rounds, of course, I was trying to find his body.
Last time we saw you in July, there was a different type of emotion because you promised your son to be the new. Today you hear the words "and new," and who do you dedicate this victory to?
First of all, of course, this is God. Second one, it's my father, my coach, and my family.
And finally, Tank Davis on social media said Lomachenko is next. Finally, it looks like he wants to get in the ring with you. Is that a fight that you want to do next?
You know, during my boxing career, I never running around, and I always take fights. And right now, I want to come back to my home, spend the time with my family, and after then I rest a little bit. We can talk about future.
We talked about at age 36, this division is about speed and reaction time. Yeah. How did you feel in terms of your speed and reaction time to compete with those elite fighters here at 35?
I feel not bad, not bad.
Thank you, Vasyl.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. And now we've got George Kambosos here.
Yeah, I want to hear George.
To speak with us. And George, as always, a valiant effort. What was different about Vasyl Lomachenko tonight compared to the other great fighters you've been in the ring with, like Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez?
Yeah, look, he's a true champion. You know, he's a legend of the sport, and I give him that much respect. I never disrespected him. I always gave him the respect, and we knew what we were coming up against. But I tried my best. I had the best preparation. I gave everything in training camp, and unfortunately, it wasn't enough today. But you know, it is what it is. I stepped to the best. I'm a model of Vittorio Gatti and Mickey Ward and all these champions. They step to the best. They fight the best. You take a loss. It is what it is.
The adjustments, we talked about Anton being your new trainer. Was it just too hard to adjust against a fighter like Loma?
Look, we started off really good with the body work. We landed some really good body shots. first bit of the fight was quite good on our behalf, and then he started getting that edge a little bit, and I came back a little bit again, but he's a true champion. This is one of the best fighters in history, you know, so I'm not ashamed. I wanted to finish that fight on my feet. I really did. I wanted to finish the rounds like I always do, but there's no shame in losing to a man like Lomachenko, and it is what it is. I gave my best. Thank you to all the support in America. True champion. Fuck the cherry picks. Forget the zero. Fight the best.
We apologize for the language.
No, don't apologize.
Kambosos, here's now at home once again here in Australia. Thank you for all the great fights you've given us.
Thank you to all the support. America, you know I love you big time. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Joe, Tim, we send it back to you.
So as I was saying, as you can see, Tank Davis, he did call him out, but as you can see, he deleted the tweet. And as you can see, something interesting, he's not with Bob anymore, I don't think. So they try to bring him over to Amazon Prime. Remember, Igor Clements, the manager of Lomachenko, has Oleksandr Volzdik, who's taking on David Benavidez on June 15th on the, I guess you're going to say it's a co-feature to Tank Davis versus Frank Martin. But be sure that we'll likely see Loma do his part to try to clean up his side of the street. As you can see, is the IBF now. Emmanuel Navarrete is taking on Denise Baricek for the WBO. Shakur Stevenson is fighting I'm going to butcher his name. It's called Artem on July the 6th. So we could see Loma versus either Shakur Stevenson or Baricek or Navarrete. And don't be surprised if Baricek beats Emmanuel Navarrete, and that could be this fall. So it's going to be a unification next. But how long do they wait for the Tank Davis fight? And remember, as you can see, Top Rank has a stranglehold on the 135-pound division. And Tank wants to stay at 135. Remember, even when it comes to Golden Boy, who works with Top Rank, they have William Zepeda, Keyshawn Davis, Edwin De Los Santos. I forgot he's fighting. Isn't he fighting at 140 against Gary Antoine Russell? I forgot who he's supposed to be fighting. He had that stinker. Samson signed him. I forgot who he's supposed to be fighting. Yeah, Gary Antoine Russell at 140. But basically, the point I'm trying to make is Raymond Muratalla, by the way, he's supposed to be taking on Tevin Farmer. That's a really good fight. Looking forward to that. But as you can see, Top Rank and Golden Boy pretty much have a stranglehold on the division. And Tank is being boxed in. And when you look at the guys at 130 pounds, they could possibly move up, also non-PBC fighters. So Tank has been saying he's got a 6-7 fight deal with PBC, Amazon, but in order to get the big fights, even at 140, in order to get the big fights, he's going to have to, they're going to have to bring other people in. And right now, after Frank Martin, who is it going to be? I mean, they can still revisit Isaac Cruz and Rayo, maybe bring them back down to 135. They're going to be fighting on August the 3rd, both Isaac Cruz and Rayo on the undercard of Terence Crawford versus Israel Madrimov. You have a potential jump to test the waters at 147 for Tank Davis. He kind of flirted with that idea in the past. But in a perfect world for me, we would see Lomachenko take on Navarrete, or Shakur Stevenson, then go after Tank Davis, or, fuck it. Make a super fight and say, you know what? Loma's getting old. He's 36. He's going to be 37 next February. Loma already won. Tank Davis beats Frank Martin in a month. And then they go on to fight each other this fall in a mega fight. Strike while the iron is hot. Because after Frank Martin, if Tank beats Frank Martin, if he does, who does he fight? And by the way, let me go ahead and say this, because people get their feathers ruffled, when you talk about Tank and when you talk about Loma, but this is my opinion. I think that the defining factor would be Tank Davis' body work against Loma. Loma doesn't like it to the body. George Kambosos surprisingly was very successful in that aspect. Let's see what he's saying.
A loss, meaning the Devin Haney fight. He didn't want to leave with a bitter taste in his mouth, but I also understood when I talked to him about the other young guns in this. why he wasn't getting those knockouts at Lomachenko. And he said, I remember Lomachenko, but I'm giving up a lot of weight. But tonight, I think it was...
By the way, yeah, let's talk about that. If you notice something about Loma, and I talked about this in the preview, he always comes back better after a defeat and stops his opponent. For example, when he lost to Orlando Salido, well, Gary Antoine Russell, that was a big fight. That was a big fight back then, but he got the majority decision. But he put on a performance. This majority don't, like, he went over to enemy territory, you know, and got the belt and brought it back to top rank. But that majority decision, no, he won that fight clearly. But then when he lost to Teofimo Lopez, came back and put a boot in Masayoshi Nakatani's ass. When he lost to Devin Haney, as you can see, came back, put a boot in George Kambosos. And this was the best George Kambosos that looked aggressively. You know, he was doing what he was supposed to be doing, playing a pressure fighter. You know, he wasn't out there trying to box. He had some success with the body shots, but either way, he still got dominated and stopped. And when you look at Loma's toughest fights, they've all been against guys that could compete, that were either bigger. So Salido missed weight. I forgot how much he missed weight by. I forgot. It was like 3-4 pounds, wasn't it? Lost to him. Teofimo lost to him. Teofimo could easily compete at 154 pounds. Lost to Devin Haney, who can compete at 154 pounds. Now, people get upset. I think that Loma let Devin Haney off the hook and he started too late. Once again, my opinion. My opinion. By the way, let's go back and look at the stoppage. It is my opinion. That is it. My opinion. I know people are going to be like, oh, you know, I can't stand when people come to my channel and be like, oh, T-Street, you know he lost. It's my opinion. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. You know, so don't come in here trying to tell me how I should feel about a fight. I can't stand it when people come on YouTube and be like, you know, start trying to cuss you out because your opinion is not the same as theirs. You know, but I think that Loma let him off the hook. Just like with round number 12 in the Teofimo fight. He let off the gas, but these Teofimo cards were wide. Those were nasty cards. They were wide. But as far as Kambosos is concerned, let's be very honest here. 21-3 now with 10 KOs. If you look all the way down to Mickey Bay, and with the way boxing is, split decision he won, squeaked by. He could have lost this fight. Lee Selby, split decision, squeaked by. He could have lost this fight. The Teofimo fight, he could have lost that fight. Maxie Hughes, he definitely lost that fight. 2 losses to Devin Haney and stopped. He could be 0-7 in his last 7 fights. So talk about an underachiever who's made a lot of money, and he had that big win that he'll always be able to take over Teofimo Lopez. But I never was high on Kambosos as a special fighter. You know, like tough fighter, but not a special fighter. I was like, yo, like he could be a reigning champion. And one thing Joe Tessitore, as I said, pointed out is that he could easily, that he had like the worst numbers of a championship fighter when it comes to CompuBox. So even the numbers hasn't been on his side. But let's see how this fight goes next week. Then they dropped him all the way down in the box rank. Let's see how it goes next week, which now this is a much bigger fight with Emmanuel Navarrete taking on Denise Berenchek. I've covered him in the past. And as you know, he didn't look good in his last fight against Conticao. You know, and then in the Liam Wilson fight, so you never know, like with Navarrete. I think that 135 is a bridge too far for him, and I bet you he's probably going to look pudgy up in there. We're going to be here covering this card. It's 1:30 in the morning, so I apologize if we're not going to be doing a live stream. And also, yes, I'm going to talk about Nina Hughes and Cherneka Johnson, and of course, Andrew Moloney's fight. In a video tomorrow in this fight with Big J. But right now, I got to take a nap. I had a wedding to go to. I didn't want to go to the wedding. It wasn't nobody I knew, you know, but I had to go. And look at this card. Let's see. I forgot who's on this card. Next week, remember, this is the card that comes on after Fury versus Usyk. So it's a big weekend next week for boxing. Emiliano Vargas working his way up. Richard Torres working his way up. Giovanni Santillan, is this for the vacant WBO? Not yet. It might be for the WBO interim. Nice, solid car. Is Jonathan Mansour related to? No, he's not. White man. I thought he was related to Amir Mansour from Philly. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. I am TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360.